Big Show starts now.
You bet it does. Welcome into Thursday's edition of the Big Show on your Total Sports Station, KTGR. It's Andy Humphrey, Brendan Schaefer here. A Thursday as Mizzou moves up in the SEC standings, men's hoops. They are just one spot away from that double bye, Brendan. And they've got a lot of tiebreakers in their favor. And so we're going to talk more about what the possibilities are and update our SEC tiers in the process after a lot of hoops yesterday in the league.
Yeah, a lot of basketball in the SEC last night. Nothing too crazy in terms of the results, but we're whittling it down and I think really coming to know just who these teams are as we march toward March.
And the results, while not all that surprising, they still helped Mizzou in those areas. So we'll get to that. We'll get Eli Hoff's perspective. He'll join us, Mizzou beat writer for the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, about how the Tigers have done recently, what he's looking for in the final 3 games of the regular season. So we'll get his thoughts. We'll also hear what Eli Drinkwitz said today. Spring football starts tomorrow. He had some interesting thoughts on the transfer portal, how Mizzou did, the quarterbacks. Spoiler, he is calling it a competition.
Oh, what a surprise.
Exactly.
I can't believe it.
Right, yeah.
We're doing this again.
Yeah,
That's fine.
Yeah, we'll have some of the audio from what he said coming up a little later on in the show. Lots to get to. 875-KTGR. You can join us here with a call or a text. You can also tweet us at KTGR Big Show. Also, be sure to see us live right now on YouTube and Facebook, youtube.com/@KTGR Sports and Facebook.com/KTGR Big Show.
Now, the Big Show's Big Deal.
So Mizzou men's basketball, as a result of last night's SEC games, is now in a four-way tie, for 5th place. But they are at the top of that tie. So if it ended today, Mizzou would be 5th in the SEC standings. They're just a game back of Tennessee, who they just beat on Tuesday. And so they are right on the doorstep of potentially getting a double bye if they can beat Mississippi State this weekend and be in that spot at the start of next week should Tennessee lose. Still a week and a half left to go, but Mizzou in a pretty good spot. They're also still in the last 4 byes territory, according to ESPN's Joe Lunardi in his bracketology update from earlier this afternoon. Again, Tigers' next game, Saturday at noon, taking on Mississippi State. And that is the Big Show's Big Deal on this 26th day of February 2026. Give us a call or a text here at 875-KTGR. Mississippi State played last night. They gave up 100 to Alabama, which is not all that surprising. I think what was maybe notable from that for Mizzou's perspective is that there was a little question as to whether Jaden Epps was going to be playing. He had kind of been dealing with injury, but he ended up playing, it seemed, through that injury last night. He played 28 minutes. So that probably means that he's going to play this Saturday for Mississippi State. But Alabama, they won. I mean, it's not – you could see Alabama lose a few games and have it help Mizzou, but I don't think you're beholden to that as far as Mizzou having a chance at a double bye. They have other ways to get there, but I think the results that did help, Arkansas beating Texas A&M, and also Florida getting the best of Texas. Florida needs to keep that top spot.
Yeah, that was probably the game I was most, I don't know if concerned is the right word, but I was paying the most attention to because Texas was at home and they did start out rather inspired in that game, but Florida emerged over the course of 40 minutes and got the double-digit victory. And Texas was the one team in that group where you're talking about a log jam between, 4th and 9th or 10th or whatever it is. That's the one team you didn't have a tiebreaker over. And so for them to take a loss, if you're still invested in, where Missouri's seed in Nashville ends up falling and wanting it to be as highly rated as possible and maybe even into that double bye territory as we've discussed, that was one that does favor Missouri. Normally you'd think, well, you want the teams doing well to lose so they can come back to the pack. Florida is so far ahead, and you want Florida to remain the number 1 seed because of the tiebreaker protocol where every other team in this range, you've either beaten them or they're going to come into a tie with you, and you've beaten Florida, and they probably haven't. So that's where it benefits you to have Florida continue to win.
And I'm not sure how many scenarios that might come down for Mizzou, because like there would have to be a tie in the head-to-head somehow, and it would have to break a more than 2-team tie, if you ask me, or if they're tied with Arkansas. Like if they're just tied with Arkansas and they beat Arkansas in a couple of Saturdays from now, and those two are 1-1 against each other, then that is where it comes in. Now Arkansas still plays Florida this Saturday, so there could be some question as to whether that's also tied, and you have to go back down to the next team or whoever that is. So lots to try and cipher out. But bottom line, yeah, I think Mizzou got a very favorable draw as far as the results from yesterday to stay afloat. And it's just, again, a characterization of all of the teams that they are tied with right now in the standings. Vanderbilt, Kentucky, Texas A&M. They've beaten all three. And so if it ended today, they would be ahead of all three.
Yep. And I think more than anything, it's going to come down to Mizzou winning its winnable games here, which they've got 3 games remaining. And I would say 2 of them are pretty winnable. Mississippi State's the most gettable, though, of the 3, and that's the next one on the docket. So you want to just kind of leave no doubt by winning that one, and then anything you can do thereafter, I think, would be gravy for your NCAA tournament hopes. But I think it's also, as we talked about yesterday, meaningful to potentially pursue SEC tournament hopes and seeing how deep into that tournament you might be able to get. And I think yesterday, I don't know if we mentioned it on the air, but Billy pointed out to us that it's, historically very difficult to reach the final of that tournament without having that double bye. It's happened maybe sporadically before, but normally those teams that are in that top 4, those are the teams that are going to be matching up in the final. And certainly if you're talking about winning the tournament. So it would definitely be to Missouri's benefit. Because all of the surrounding data now sort of favors the Tigers, it's really just about them taking care of their business. And you can isolate it down to Tennessee dropping 2 of its last 3, and you're in a really good spot, because that would potentially lead to an 11-7 record where you still have a good crack at that double bye, because yes, you've got a number of teams that have 6 losses that would need to then pick up a 7th if you did. But by the same token, those tiebreakers are all in your favor. So there's a real path to even an 11-7 Missouri team finishing 4th.
875-KTGR to join us here on the big shows. We talk some Mizzou basketball. Yeah, the path is certainly there, and the easiest way there, I think, is to get wins in your road games coming up. Arkansas, I think, is still the toughest game, even though it's at home. That's a really good team. They can score just in any gym.
They clowned on A&M last night, and it wasn't really anything A&M was doing. I was watching this game. Arkansas just was elite scoring the basketball. They drew that out to 18 or 20 points at one part of the second half, and it ended up being less than that. But that was the moment where it's like, oh, this game's not in question anymore. Like, they just ran by them.
But also, just the double bye could protect you a little bit from those teams that if you lose to them in the SEC tournament, maybe you take a larger hit.
People look sideways.
Yeah. I think that's also kind of important in that sense, because you not only get one step closer potentially playing for a conference championship, but like if you're the 4, well, you're probably getting the 5, right? You probably get Tennessee. And like if you lose to Tennessee on a neutral floor, I mean, you'd obviously like to win those games, but it's not going to ding you all that much. You're going to be seen as fairly equal, if not probably still an underdog to them in that scenario. And so, I think it can definitely help Mizzou to the point where, you're still in the last 4 buys territory, according to Lenardi. Did you see another update today? Just came within the last hour, I believe. Lenardi still has Mizzou in the last 4 buys. It's still 4 SEC teams all occupying the last 4 buys, but there's a new one that has dropped down there. Georgia has dropped down into the last 4 buys. So there are 5 teams in Lenardi's projections from the SEC that are all in a line next to each other within the last 4 buys and the last 4 in.
Yeah, and I was, when we were talking about Georgia, do you root for Georgia? Do you root against Georgia? How do you kind of parse that out? We didn't really know how far. And again, Lenardi's not the end all be all, but usually pretty accurate when it comes to who's making the field versus who's left out of it. The seeding, he may not be as good as others, but it's definitely noteworthy what he has to say. Georgia's now, clearly they're in that range where you can certainly root against Georgia and could see them fall out of the field entirely if things don't go their way. And they didn't play terribly against Vanderbilt last night. They missed the cover by a half a point. I actually put a parlay together in the SEC last night thinking that Georgia was going to cover that spread and ended up being off base about it. But it was only by a half a point. But they were competitive in that game at Vanderbilt. I don't think that was a particularly bad result, but then you still have to look at overall their record and their number of quality wins. They are in a situation where they got to be careful because of their 3 remaining games. Georgia should hands down win 2 of them because it's hosting South Carolina and at Mississippi State. Hosting Alabama is the 3rd. If you lose the Alabama game and happen to drop one of the other 2, that could lead to Georgia, I think, being in the danger zone. Now, Missouri, that is applicable to you guys as well because you play at Mississippi State too. So that's, to me, the one that you don't want to lose a quad 2, and you get that win, it's going to be hard to bump you down. I think for Georgia, they've got 2 games that are going to qualify as being below a quad 1. And that South Carolina game is certainly one that they can't afford to lose at home. So I think they're fine because I think their schedule is manageable enough for them to be fine. But I think almost have to be even a little bit more careful than Mizzou. A 1-2 for them would not look the same as a 1-2 for Missouri, I think.
Yeah.
Just because of the nature of the 2 of their 3 remaining games are ones you got to have.
Yeah, against the absolute bottom of the conference, and you don't want to have that ding your resume any further, especially if you lose this weekend. I don't think they will. I think
Georgia, that's the Carolina game.
Yeah, this weekend, Carolina at home.
Yep, can't lose that one. Yeah. But I'll be rooting for it. That'll be on my rooting guide tomorrow.
Really?
Is looking for South Carolina. Well, sure. It's not very likely, but if they happen to lose that game, South Carolina did win at Mississippi State last weekend, so it's not impossible that it could happen. I get it. Mississippi State's not as strong of a team, but yeah, I would say that would be an awesome one because you are rooting for these other SEC teams that are in this bubble range to not look better than you. Because if all else is equal, some of these SEC teams are getting in, even if they all stumble down the stretch. Shout out to Lenardi for finally bumping Auburn down a little bit more. They're now in the last 4 in and would be in a Dayton scenario according to his latest projections. So I want to see them continue to move the other direction too.
Well, and he also noted in here that there's he is kind of projecting a bid stealer in this sense because San Diego State beat Utah State last night and overtook them for the top spot in the Mountain West.
Fascinating.
And so Utah State has the resume to probably be in as an at-large, even if they don't win.
But San Diego State will not be in without winning their conference tournament.
Exactly. So that's something to watch. And so because of that, Lenardi is projecting that San Diego State is stealing a bid away and that California, the first team out, would be in if San Diego State probably doesn't.
Interesting. In a just world, though, Utah State would win that conference tournament because they don't even deserve New Mexico being in. New Mexico, I think, is the next highest rated team, and they're in the first 4 out just behind Cal. But what's probably going to happen with that league is that somebody besides Utah State's going to win that conference tournament. And so it'll be, I guess, just a 2-bid league, right? I don't think is there anybody else I'm forgetting out of the Mountain West that's
if New Mexico doesn't get in, there'd be only those 2. I don't think anybody else is. I'm just checking Lenardi's. He only has 2 in. So
I don't see a scenario where, anything can happen, but I don't see New Mexico necessarily losing its conference tournament and bumping into an at-large unless Utah State is the team winning its conference tournament and you lose in the final to them and that's enough to get you over the hump, because there will be other leagues that have bid stealers. That's more likely to go against you than for you, I would think, this time of year. Maybe not a ton of leagues where it can happen, and I still think, despite St. Louis losing to Dayton on Tuesday, I still think that SLU's in.
Right.
And so that's another league where SLU doesn't win their tournament. Like, you're definitely getting a bid stealer from the A10. That's another one off the top of my head.
So that's one. The other one is the MAC with Miami, Ohio.
Which should absolutely, again, they should, as long as they make their conference final, like, don't lose a quad 4 game or something crazy. And they're really, I don't know how that bracket works in the MAC to where, like, are they going to be exposed to a potential real low team in the net or not? But they deserve to be in regardless. But yeah, we're all rooting for Miami of Ohio, I think, to win their conference tournament just to avoid anything goofy potentially happening.
Well, let's take a look at that bracket and see if they have a double bye scenario where Miami could play only like maybe 3 games and be just fine. I would hope that's the case. Oh no.
Are you concerned?
Well, I guess only 8 teams make it. So there's one thing, but there's no buys, but you 3 wins and you win it. Yeah.
But so, okay, they'll face the 8 seed, which is like not the bottom of the bottom, because the bottom of the bottom doesn't make that conference tournament, which I don't love. I think there's
really
a certain, I think there's a certain beauty to having everybody make the conference tournament and, having a just dog water team be able to theoretically go win a national championship until they get blasted by the 6th seed in the first round on the equivalent of a Wednesday night in the SEC tournament. Like, that's what America's all about, in my opinion. So the MAC, I think that's more of the communist take on things.
Okay.
But,
I don't know. I mean, is it? I think it might be the other way around a little bit, but I just
think it's fun to have everybody get in and be able to potentially see something crazy.
It is fun to see a 15 seed somewhere.
Is it a waste of time more often than not? Yes, it is.
But again,
those teams don't usually make it, but they have access.
Chances for bubble teams to bottom out once again. Like, win those games, just win them.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Sign up for it. So I think that's the case there.
I mean, let me give you an example. The final year of Kim Anderson.
That was
the Auburn game.
Oh,
I mean, who doesn't love that, right?
Gave us great content right at the end for sure. Yeah, she's walking into the tunnel.
FCC awesome. Will get on us if we talk any more about that.
Yeah, I know.
But I mean, that's what we love about the conference tournaments.
Hey, that made Wednesday, that people who were there and were experiencing Wednesday in the tournament or watching it on television, after that, they were glad they did.
Yeah, that was a special one. Everybody knows what we're talking about.
Yes. Went out in blaze of glory, that's for sure.
That's kind of what he did.
875 KTGR. Give us a call or a text. So yeah, like I really think it's those 3 leagues that, again, unless we're missing somebody or if anybody out there is probably gonna.
There are teams. Another league. There are teams that are safely in the West Coast Conference that, if somebody random happened to win that conference tournament, you would be talking about Gonzaga. I think St. Mary's. Is St. Mary's still
Gonzaga, St. Mary's, and then I guess it's Santa Clara is the other one.
Like, it feels as though Santa Clara would probably need to just go ahead and win that tournament to really feel safe, especially after last night. They had their crack at St. Mary's on the road and they lost by 19. So that's kind of that should put to bed the notion of Santa Clara as an at-large.
Well, still last 4 in. Still last 4 in, according to Lenardi.
No, they're not. I just don't think that is realistic when they lose in their conference tournament. But then again, when you look at the bubble is just very weak, which is another benefit to Missouri. When you look at Lenardi's last 4 in, the last team in right now is Indiana, who just lost to Northwestern at home.
Yeah.
And Northwestern is terrible.
Yeah.
So, like, the bubble is very weak, and I don't think you can look at what Missouri has accomplished and call it weak with 5 quad 1 wins and 10 attempts. Like,
certainly not recently, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
The non-con weighs you down in that you didn't accomplish anything, but it hasn't held you back. I think, again, the list is short of teams that have 5 quad 1 wins and still have a 500 or better quad 1 record and isn't considered just like an auto. Oh yeah, of course they're automatically in because they're ranked, got a number by their name. Any teams that are doing that, it's UCF and Missouri are really the 2 teams that are considered anywhere near the bubble that can currently claim that many quad one wins in that few of quad one opportunities. 5-5 is the quad one record for the Tigers as of the moment.
And again, these are points where, and not necessarily knowing their exact process, but these are points where the committee can go case by case and say, and look at Missouri maybe a little bit closer and say, like, okay, why did they all of a sudden turn around at the start of conference play?
Excellent point.
Like, it's because they got 2 starters back. Okay, that makes sense. Injuries,
right? Which in past years, when there's a prominent player that's injured for somebody, they will admit that they do look at that. They say, well, he missed 4 games, but look at what they did without him. I do think that they should be considerate of Trent Pierce and Jaden Stone, because those guys have been key cogs in a pretty thin rotation, especially until recently with Trent Burns, getting some reliable minutes. I think that should absolutely at least be a tiebreaker in Missouri's favor, but hopefully it's not even one that they really need by the end of it. Yeah,
I think eventually if they get, if we're talking about them getting the wins that they should get in order to make the NCAA tournament, if they're winning this weekend, and maybe they get one more to potentially put them in double bye territory, then I think they save themselves from that talk, and then we're just talking about seed line between them and somebody else for that. But yeah, that is something that I think the committee can consider. Will they? Look, I won't tell you what the NCAA committee is going to do. In fact, there's even talk of like Ross Dellinger had put out, I believe sometime last week, like, okay, the committee will at least take into account that one of the losses for Auburn and Texas A&M and Missouri was against Alabama when they were playing Charles Bediako.
Right.
How much they consider it, how much they factor in that remains to be seen.
If we'd been close in that game, I think it might have actually weighed a little bit more. And that's something to think about for other teams. Like Auburn in that situation only lost by 4. I think A&M played them and
they played close
in that game as well. So that's, as much as I want to, be the anti-Auburn propagandist, that is something that I think fair is fair. If we're going to say they should at least remember that when seeding Missouri, Auburn, I think that's applicable there too.
I mean, those are all bubble teams. It's crazy how that is worked out.
Do you think and obviously I think the national kind of opinion of this is like, oh, here they go, propping up the SEC again. That's a hard one to really parse out, I think, in basketball this year. But
they're not doing it as much as they did last year. 14 teams made it last year.
Yeah, but right now, Lenardi's got 11 SEC teams in and 9 from the Big Ten. And when you look at the bubble, it's all SEC teams. But on the safe side of the bubble, they're like, we're not going to expose the SEC to the last couple teams in. They're just like the next.
Well, that's just ESPN's bias over there. Lenardi, come on.
So I don't ever agree with that take in football.
Right.
In basketball this year, I'm struggling because I think some of these teams are definitely really good, but I also view the world through a prism of Mizzou basketball, and they didn't look like a very good team until conference play started. And so is it just, yes, they got their players back and that's why they're playing better basketball? Or is it just like, the league is trading on last year's reputation a little bit, even though we can all admit it's not what it was last year. 11 teams in the tournament, still a pretty good number.
It is pretty good. Will Mizzou be one of them? 875-KTGR. We'll keep watching it as we get closer to the weekend and more SEC hoops to come. We'll update our SEC basketball tiers at 5:05. But up next, we'll hear from Eli Hoff of the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, his perspective on Tiger hoops and how things are trending right now. He'll join us next here on The Big Show.
The best subscriptions in life are free. Subscribe to KTGR on YouTube to watch The Big Show and other exclusive content. YouTube.com/@KTGR Sports.
Brian Ware Plumbing and Restoration has answered a lot of your calls over the years, and you've helped him grow his business immensely. So he wanted to take a second to say thank you. Oof, that was pretty emotional. We couldn't have said it better ourselves. So keep calling Brian to unplug your plumbing problems. BrianWarePlumbing.com.
As we get into the heart of basketball season, 1851 Underground Tap and Grill wants to remind you, whether you need a place to grab a bite after a local high school or college game, or you want to plop down with some friends and watch some of that college conference action on TV, they've got a spot for you. Your favorite cold beer or cocktail and delicious appetizer or dinner options on the menu. Check them out on Facebook or at 1851underground.com. It's no secret that it is underground. 1851 Underground Tap and Grill in the historic Brick District, downtown Fulton.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Hey, good morning. You're heading to the airport, right?
Yep, thanks for checking. I like the car. How long have you been a rideshare driver?
About 3 years now. I really enjoy it.
Isn't it hard to make money these days with the price of gas being so high?
Not for me. I use Upside, the free app that gives you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get real money back when you get gas with the Upside app?
Yep, I get real cash back every time I get gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make around $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code STRONG for an extra 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code STRONG for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code STRONG.
Word gets around. And at Lee's Tire Company, that's why being around for you is more than just a catchy jingle. It's how they stay part of the community. We took a look and everything seems to be fine. That new set of tires is all you need. That's the Lee's Tire way. No pressure, no suspicious upsells. Just honest work done right. So whether it's tires, brakes, or a quick checkup, trust the shop that's always round for you.
Lee's Tire Company is round for you. Ooh, see Lee's.
This is the year she gets an upgraded diamond, the year that dad finally gets his retirement watch, and the year that your daughter graduates, so you give her the necklace she's always dreamed of. Family Pawn is not your traditional pawn shop, but they are your secret to saving big on stunning jewelry for every occasion. Family Pawn, where you'll find timeless treasures for a fraction of the cost. FamilyPawn.com.
Not your traditional pawn shop. Family Pawn.
Guys, our day is coming. The 2026 Como Man Show. Saturday, March 14th at the Northeast Event Center where the Boone County Fair is held. Sports, tractors, cars, and a whole lot more of everything that makes you proud to be a man. Food and drink? Oh yeah, Mid-Missouri's Best will be there too, with a portion of the proceeds going to a local nonprofit. Tickets on sale now, so grab yours at ComoManShow.com and we'll see you there. Saturday, March 14th at the Northeast Event Center.
The best local sports talk around on your ride home. You've got the Big Show on KTGR.
Well, lots of hoops to take in. Last night, of course, over this weekend, Mizzou trying to further better its NCAA tournament resume. Here on the Big Show, KTGR, the KTGR app. Andy and Brendan here. Mizzou, Mississippi State, Saturday at noon. The Tigers' next chance to get another victory to inch one step closer to getting to the NCAA tournament. Things have really been trending up recently, and here to talk all things Tiger Hoops with us is Eli Hoff, the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. You can find him on Twitter at @by_Eli Hoff. Subscribe to the St. Louis Post to see his great stuff. And, well, it's an exciting time to talk about a team that, look, when you get to late February, early March, it just seems that when Mizzou is in this conversation, things just get so much more heightened. How have you seen it develop over the last couple of weeks or so with things really trending Mizzou's way with the quality wins they've got?
Yeah, it feels like the last couple of weeks have been in across the board kind of elevation of Mizzou's ceiling, where a couple of weeks ago we were ready to eliminate this team from tournament contention with really just one or two more losses, and instead they've gotten the wins to now where, as we're talking today, Mizzou's off the bubble. Certainly time to get back on it if things go south, but off the bubble, and now we're looking at, hey, could this be a team that's a 9 seed? Is this a team that could have a double bye in the SEC tournament? Like there's a lot more that seems possible now just based on how these last couple of weeks have gone. And of course, Mizzou can't necessarily apologize for what other teams have done around them, but just from how they've been able to better their play, from how you see them going about it game by game, is there anything that has
followed the same vein, the same trend that you've kind of noticed as they, knocked off Tennessee, held on obviously against Vanderbilt, tried to make a bit of an upset against Arkansas, fell short. What'd you kind of see in all of those games there?
Yeah, I think the kind of common thread is something that actually goes back to last year. So last year at this time, we didn't really know it yet, but Mizzou had played its best basketball of the season, right? The high water mark last year was that win against Alabama. I think everybody knows that. So by this point last year, we were seeing Caleb Grill and Tamar Bates start to hit their slump, just seeing the team kind of overall just crawl into what it became once it got to March. I don't want to anoint any team too early, but I think we're seeing this year's Missouri team start to hit its stride at this point in the calendar versus start to regress. So you're seeing Mark Mitchell's been Mark Mitchell, but the playmaking of his has really popped recently, right? T.O. Barrett has come out of nowhere to really be a star for this team and a key player. Trent Burns has gone from a couple weeks ago not looking like an SEC player to now being a core part of the rotation, who I've seen some people, they're getting ahead of themselves, but I've seen some people suggest he should be starting over Sean Phillips at the 5 spot. So you're just seeing so many more players kind of hit their form at this point in the season, whereas last year, for comparison's sake, that the opposite was happening. And I think that's the reason why this is so encouraging.
I want to ask about one of the players that you mentioned there, who maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, but I look at T.O. Barrett as the second most impactful player on this team. And it's, all respect to Jaden Stone and some of the other guys, T.O. Barrett's evolution, especially as the early season conversation surrounding Anthony Robinson was, you're not really getting that next step out of him. Just how crucial has his development been? And it has been a development. Like, we didn't see this from him in the opportunities he got last year or even earlier this season.
Yeah, I think it's actually pretty easy to understand why he's so important, right? This roster build for this year was centered around 2 players, Mark Mitchell and Anthony Robinson. And it was built around the idea that you have 2 players who can create points for themselves with the ball in their hands. They can be downhill drivers. They can get to the free throw line. They're plus finishers at the rim. They're good defensively, right? That's what the build was supposed to be. Where this season teetered for a little bit was that wasn't working because Ant Robinson wasn't working this year. Now, all of a sudden, you have T.O. Barrett stepping into that role. He's not the same player as Ant Robinson, but he's able to provide the same kind of output, which is what this team needs, because that's what this roster was built around last April when the portal was open. So in that sense, it's actually been strangely kind of seamless how you can have one player not be what you expected in a bad way and one player be not what you expected in a good way, and T.O. can come in and take over like that. So it's just that he's able to fill the Ant Robinson role so well, and frankly do it with a little better. He's a little better finisher at the rim, right? He's not as reliant on getting fouled when he's down there. He has more size to his frame. So you saw that against Tennessee when they put small players on him. Like, T.O. wins that battle from a physicality standpoint. So it's been a ton of fun to watch, and I don't know who can claim they saw it coming. I'm not sure anybody really can, but it has saved this team's season. T.O. Barrett stepping up like this.
It seems that way. Eli Hoff of the St. Louis Post-Dispatch here on the Big Show KTGR and the KTGR app. Even through all of that and seeing what other players have done around it, it still seems that the way Mark Mitchell has played, not just, we knew about the scoring aspect, we knew he could be a solid rebounder. The fact he's also leading the team in assists, I think also maybe isn't like it's not unimportant for the way that Mizzou has had to, again, like they thought they had a lead distributor in Robinson this year, but just the full on ability of Mark Mitchell on the offensive side. I mean, we knew he could be this team's MVP, but did we think that he could do it to this degree with the way he's leading so many categories?
Yeah, I mean, it's remarkable evolution, and it is testament to both his development and this staff being able to coach it up in him, because he was important to last year's team, but he had to take on a different role this year just because there's not as many threats around him as there were last year. So we have seen it to no surprise this year with how often teams will double and triple him when the ball's in his hand. In early on in non-conference play, when he was getting those doubles and triples, that was kind of the tension point, was that he still seemed like he was hardwired to just go up with it whenever he could and try to get the foul. And the fact of the matter is, when you're getting double teamed and you go up with it, that's an ill-advised shot. It's just tougher to get that foul call because refs are going to look at that and be like, what did you think was going to happen? Even if you actually get fouled, right? It's just harder to get fouls through double teams sometimes. And what he then recognized was that if two people are on him, that means somebody else is open. He's just gotten so good at finding that open player and getting a feel for it, to where drive and kick is just a fantastic element of this Mizzou offense now, and has been for some time. Jaden Stone's also really good at the drive and kick, just in a different way and to kind of a lesser degree. So yeah, it's really remarkable to see Mark passing the ball like this. You don't see many players who create such a brand for themselves as downhill drivers all of a sudden becoming A+ passers, and that's really been cool to see.
Obviously, this time of year, everything is about, are they in the bracket? Are they on the bubble? What's the latest status? I want to ask you, though, first about the league that they're in, with the SEC being considered. Obviously, last year it was just unbelievable, historically great. This year, everybody seems to agree that it's not on that level. And yet, you're looking at the latest Joe Lunardi projections, 11 teams in the field, with a lot of them just favorably on the bubble and looking like they're in pretty good footing. How do you kind of view the SEC, Missouri's place within it, as we kind of trudge toward the last couple of weeks here and look toward, what their seeding might be in Nashville?
Yeah, well, it's tough for the SEC because it's the things can be two things. Like, this is not last year's conference, but this is still one of the best basketball conferences assembled, and is the best out there this year. That's hard nuance to get. The important thing for Missouri is that it has some really, really valuable tiebreakers that it's picked up. And this is a byproduct of Mizzou beating better teams and losing to worse teams, in all honesty, which is a weird way of looking at it. But so right now, as we're talking, Mizzou is ahead of, there's like 5 teams that are all tied on the same conference record, and Mizzou's at the front of that pack because it is the only one of them to have beat Florida. So that Florida win is probably a tiebreaker there. Mizzou now has the tiebreaker over A&M, over Tennessee, over Vanderbilt, over Kentucky. These are all teams that could very well finish on the same record or be right in that mix. So that's where you're seeing some of these head-to-head results really, really matter for Mizzou. And I guess I should lump Arkansas in there, that if Mizzou could get a win over Arkansas on the last day of the regular season, like, there's a world where those teams are on similar footing. I'm still not sure if the SEC is going to actually get 11 teams in. Some of these SEC teams that are on the bubble, they're on the right side of the bubble now, but I haven't loved how Auburn's been playing lately. Haven't loved some of the Georgias. We'll see. Not what we're here to talk about today, but yeah, it's been a good basketball conference, and Mizzou's really helped itself with some of these tiebreakers.
Hey, we'll talk bubble all we want. Like, that's been our secret sauce.
I'm an anti-Auburn propagandist at this point, so I mean, I like what you're saying there, Eli.
Yeah, I mean, it is fascinating, and now with Mizzou, like, again, last 4 bye territory, so they're avoiding Dayton at the moment, according to Lunardi. However right Lunardi might be, we'll see. But the fact that they're in position, it seems, to this weekend win against Mississippi State, and maybe it doesn't even matter what happened next week. Is that how you kind of view it? Or what possible scenarios have you kind of played out in your head as to what the committee might do based on how Mizzou finishes here?
Yeah, so I'd written going into the Tennessee game, just in this last 4 stretch, that Mizzou needed 2-2 to get in, and feel good about it. That's 10 SEC wins. We've thought that would be the bar for a while, and that's proving to be correct. I think still. So I would say Mizzou is a win away from, we can't say clinch because it's not official, but a win away from all but locking up a spot in the NCAA tournament, wherever that win comes in. I do think it's still important that win happens in the regular season. Like, I'm not sure if they could go 0-3 and then win a game or 2 in Nashville, and that would be enough. I don't think you want to count on that. That's also where then probably bid stealers come into play. But we're also looking at a scenario now where, let's say Mizzou from here can go 2-1 and get 2 more regular season wins, maybe get a couple wins in Nashville. Like, that's where you are solidly off the bubble and closer to probably a 9 seed, just given what the bubble's looking like. So with that win over Tennessee, Mizzou's positioned itself really well. The wins above bubble, which I think we all need to be talking a whole lot more about. We've all been so conditioned to look at net rankings. No, it's the wins above bubble now. Mizzou shapes up really, really well in that. And still has a lot of room that it can make progress there. So all of that, I think, has been really favorable.
Yeah, I guess we have to make sure we know how to pronounce the acronym. I know Pomeroy had a piece about it today. Don't say WAB.
He's completely
say
right.
WAB. Yeah, I can't argue with him. It's got to be WAB, right? As weird as that sounds, I don't feel comfortable saying it that way, but it's probably right. I don't know. But yes, it is something that people need to know. Because of how it just boils down a resume into one number. And it seems the NCAA is kind of tipping its hand on that a little bit as to like how they're how they're using that metric. Eli Hoff of the St. Louis Post-Dispatch here on the Big Show, KTGR. Little note on football, Eli, because, I mean, it's spring football, and so you can't not pay attention to that either. The fact that this team is trying to bounce back from a year that maybe left a little bit to be desired in 2025, and everybody talking about Austin Simmons, of course, and what that could mean. I mean, Eli Drinkwitz builded a competition today. We'll see how that actually plays out. But how did you kind of view Eli Drinkwitz framing what this period could be for his team here going in?
Yeah, I was not surprised that he presented this as a quarterback competition. Like, this team has not had a single official practice. Tomorrow's the first walkthrough of spring ball. So I think it would be premature to name your starting quarterback before that, when it's going to be somebody new. He needs to keep everybody engaged. I'm not buying the 4-man race. Like, no offense to Gavin Sidwar, who's coming in as a true freshman. I'm sure he's a great talent. Like, I don't think he's challenging for this. Nick Evers has a lot of experience, but he wasn't the starter at UConn last year. I'm not viewing him as a contender at this point. It feels like it's between Zollers and Simmons, and I can understand if Eli Drinkwitz feels a need to let those two duke it out for a little bit. Like, we don't know what kind of development Matt Zollers could have this offseason or this summer. You don't really know what Austin Simmons is because of what Trinidad Chambliss did taking over at Ole Miss last year. So I can see some value to balancing that out. I thought it was interesting that Drink still got his kind of shot in there at the quarterback play last year, talking about how they need to be able to move the ball downfield better with the quarterback position this year. I think it doesn't take a genius to know who he was alluding to with that. It also was interesting to hear him kind of talk about the portal and the reality that he came up with he didn't come up with it, but he used the Moneyball analogy of, they had a set budget and they had to try to replace a whole lot in the aggregate with all these guys. Some of them are proven producers. Some of them are more potential type swings, which is what all of us, I think, saw when we looked at the portal class. But I think it was good to hear him kind of frame it that way. We'll see if Mizzou Twitter catches on to that. I'm not sure it's gonna resonate. I thought all of that was expected framing and pretty helpful.
If we don't see the meme up of that shot of Jonah Hill with Brad Pitt, I mean, what are we doing here? We need the content for the spring. So somebody's got to do it. Page Tiger Will or one of those accounts. Somebody's got to get on this. There you go.
Name dropping now. Here we go.
Love it. Eli Hoff of the St. Louis Post-Dispatch on the Big Show, KTGR. Go catch all of his great work over at the St. Louis Post and follow him on Twitter at @Eli_Hoff. Great to have him here on the Big Show. Thanks for coming on, Eli. Take care this weekend. We'll talk soon.
Hey, thanks, guys. Time to go make some Moneyball memes.
There we go. Get that content flowing. That's what we're all about here on the Big Show, KTGR. We love it. Oh man. Yeah, that is tailor-made for someone out there to put, Robert Woodyard on a poster or someone like that. Or this is Nashawn Montgomery. He has been.
Yeah, you have to be careful because there is a negative connotation to that particular meme where you're basically pointing out a shortcoming of a player. That's kind of the format of the meme. But no, it'll be interesting to dig into some of Eli Drinkwitz's thoughts. It was we haven't heard from him in a minute because it's just kind of the lull of the off season. And then you see some different things popping up today and go, oh yeah, this is kind of what it feels like during football season. And so now we'll be able to parse through some of his thoughts on in his way of delivering information as he wants it out there.
Yeah, we'll hear some of that audio coming up at 5:25. In the meantime, you can go and catch the full press conference up at ktgr.com right now if you missed it. Also, Ahmad Hardy and Santana Banner spoke today at Media Day for Mizzou football before they start spring practice with just a walkthrough tomorrow, but they'll have 3 weeks worth of practices starting this weekend. No spring game, though. They'll just have those practices and a few of them open to the media. Under the Bus coming up next as we talk about short arms. And I guess why it matters at the NFL Scouting Combine. That's next.
Now, your local Sports Center update on your total sports station, KTGR.
Good afternoon. I'm Andy Humphrey. This Sports Center update is with Lee's Tire Company. If it's round and rubber, Lee sells it. Go to leestirecompany.com. As a result of last night's SEC men's basketball action, Mizzou has moved up in the standings. They're now in a tie for 5th place with 3 other teams. but they have the tiebreak on all of those teams. So if it ended today, Mizzou would be the number 5 seed in the SEC tournament. Still 3 regular season games left to go, however, as the Tigers' next one is on Saturday at noon at Mississippi State. Mizzou women's basketball begins its final week of the regular season tonight as the Tigers visit number 3 South Carolina. Tough way to finish for Mizzou in this last week as they face South Carolina tonight and then number 7 Oklahoma on Sunday. Tigers have lost 4 straight, are 4-10 in conference. Tip-off is set for 7 p.m. tonight, pregame at 6:45 right here on KTGR. Mizzou baseball announced a schedule change for the weekend. The Tigers series against North Dakota State will now feature a doubleheader Saturday with a weather forecast predicting rain for Sunday. That doubleheader will begin at 1 o'clock on Saturday. The first game on Friday is still scheduled for 6 p.m. Now your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast.
I'm ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner. I'm tracking mostly clear skies tonight. Tomorrow is much more windy as gusts get up to around 25 to 30 miles per hour. It's warmer too with highs in the low to mid 70s. Saturday, a cold front will be moving through. Morning temperatures will be around 40 and we only make it to the 50s across I-70 as temperatures continue to fall throughout the day. I'm ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner, and that's your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast on your total sports station, KTGR.
High school hoops.
Switches on the crossover, Euro step inside, high off the glass and in.
At its best.
Catch it on the left wing, turns around and knocks down the 3.
KTGR is your home for the best high school basketball matchups in Columbia. Follow the Cupies, Bruins, Spartans, and Trailblazers all season long on KTGR's High School Hoops Game of the Week. See the full list of game broadcasts on KTGR.com and listen on the go with a free KTGR app. High school basketball lives here on your total sports station, KTGR.
Step into a real-life snow globe with Zimmer Communications and Colette Travel on this 9-day European vacation. Stroll Prague, Dresden, Vienna, and Budapest. From castles and cathedrals to twinkling market stalls. Sip warm Glühwein, shop handcrafted gifts, and even visit a family-run candy workshop. Learn more by joining us in Colette Travel Tuesday, March 17th at 5:30. At Courtyard Marriott Columbia on Lamone Industrial Boulevard. RSVP today at ZimmerCommunications.com.
Did you know about 1 in 3 people with plaque psoriasis may also develop psoriatic arthritis, which causes joint pain, stiffness, and swelling? Does this sound like you? Listen to what it sounds like to be a million miles away. Tremfya guselkumab, taken by injection, is a prescription medicine for adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who may benefit from taking injections or pills or phototherapy, and for adults with active psoriatic arthritis. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Imagine being a million miles away. Explore what's possible. Ask your doctor about Tremfya. Visit Tremfya.com or call 1-800-526-7736.
Before the sun comes up and long after it sets, ABC 17 News and Storm Track Weather keep working for you, gathering the information your family needs to take on the day, alerting you to breaking news and health and safety concerns in our area, plus tracking the latest weather conditions to help you plan ahead. It's everything you need to know from the team you trust most. ABC 17 News and Storm Track Weather, where the news comes first.
Okay, we now have Steve from Steve's Pest Control. He'll be addressing your questions on the spring invasion. Steve?
Front corner, Steve. Front corner. I have a question, Steve.
Hi, let's start with you, sir, in the third row.
Last year's fall invasion was terrifying for many families. How do you propose we deal with the invaders this spring?
Well, not to worry. First thing, just call us to Steve's Pest Control. We'll get you started on a 5-star Advantage plan.
Steve, is it true that the pests are becoming self-aware?
No, not really, no.
And that they're trying to enslave the entire human race?
That's fake news.
Steve, I'm over here, back corner. Steve.
But Steven, is it true that there could be hundreds of termites living underneath my home?
Honestly, it's more like millions. Folks, it's okay. All you have to do is calmly, quietly pick up your phone and call us to Steve's Pest Control. We're going to solve your pest problem and keep you protected. I guarantee it.
Now you got a friend in the pest control business. Steve's Pest Control.
Hi, we're Midway Electric. Late winter is the smart time to take a look at your electrical system before spring projects and new power demands put extra strain on it. If your panel is outdated, breakers trip often, or you're planning major upgrades, now is the time to make sure your system is ready. From panel upgrades and repairs to efficient lighting and future-ready electrical solutions, Midway Electric helps keep homes and businesses safe, reliable, and prepared for what's next. Midway Electric, powered by people with pride. MidwayElectricInc.com.
Back to more of the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. You've got The Big Show on the KTGR app.
Well, breaking news at the NFL Scouting Combine. Very important. Ruben Bain has short arms. Oh, my gosh. He measured at just an eighth of an inch under 31-inch arm length, which is apparently like only two edge rushers in the last, 25 years have been drafted in the top whatever.
I have a big head and little arms.
Yeah, like, all right.
They do this with these linemen. I know offensive linemen, they need to know about the arm length. You can't be a tackle if your arms are so short. You're going to have to be a guard or an interior lineman. Similar when it comes to the defensive line, I suppose. Not.
Yeah.
What's your actual take on this?
Well,
he's being thrown under the bus by the combine
sure,
nerds. But what do you think as it pertains to the Chiefs at 9? Is this a thing?
Well, here's the thing. So I think context is important. First of all, really good video that Ben Solak put out about how a guy like Ruben Bain can overcome it. Micah Parsons also has relatively shorter arms, and he's the best pass rusher in the league. He just has a different way of getting to the quarterback and beating offensive tackles. So go and watch that. But also, the context of this year and last year a little bit, combine measurements have been a little off at times. And then
Really?
NFL scouts will measure themselves at pro days. And this happened with Will Campbell last year.
Wait a minute.
And Adam Schefter pointed out that it's already happened with Ruben Bain here, that multiple NFL teams have measured his arm length and it measured at 32 inches or north of that.
Why are we even doing the combine if that can't be reliable?
I don't even know what kind of ruler or tape measure they're using. I have no clue. Or at what point they're starting.
System.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But you know what? Here's the thing. Actually, I think they're right. You know what? NFL teams, they should ding Ruben Bain for the type of arm length that he has. As a matter of fact, I think specifically teams like the Raiders, the Jets, the Cardinals, the Titans, the Giants, the Browns, the Commanders, and the Saints should all just discount Ruben Bain completely.
Don't draft him.
Yeah, don't draft him with one of your first 8 picks.
This guy?
No.
Top 8 pick? He's
No,
like
that's
a T-Rex.
not. No.
You can't draft a T-Rex in football.
Now, you know what? I think 9, you know what? He deserves it. You know what? I think between the 8 and the 9, I think is a good place to draw the line.
And whoever just drafts at 9, I don't know.
I don't know.
Look at the list, but
just,
that would be. That seems like the right place to go if you're like a little arm T-Rex running around, don't have any limbs, no arms. That's fine. 9, whoever's there.
Yeah, I don't have the list pulled up at all, so I was just
agree.
guessing.
The Chiefs,
yeah.
Honestly, maybe it helps the Chiefs to land him. I don't know if people are that stupid in 2026 that they would not draft him because of this, but I would say it also, I saw him on video from the combine, and I saw a comment that was like, he didn't get a haircut or anything. He just kind of rolled up. That's a 14-year All-Pro right there.
Yeah.
They said, why should you draft? They draft you because I'm a monster is what he said. Yeah, I'd draft that guy.
Yeah. Please and thank you.
Heartbeat.
Please and thank you. Please keep undervaluing Ruben Bain. I would like the Chiefs to have.
I like him. I'm all in on the idea after all the stupidity from the combine.
Yeah. This pretty cool. First of all, Max Scherzer back with the Blue Jays, 19th MLB season.
Wow.
For the former Mizzou Tiger. He's still doing it. North of 40 years old, but he's going to get another shot with the Blue Jays. But after they announced, he announced himself that he was going to be rejoining them and that he got a contract once again by posting on Instagram a handwritten letter that his daughter wrote. His 9-year-old daughter wrote to the Blue Jays asking them to sign her dad again and keep him in Toronto because they like Toronto and they like the stadium and they like all that. It was very well written.
And imagining Baxter's are like, hey, honey, write this.
Yeah.
They're not being reasonable on the price. They're not being reasonable on the contract. Would you butter him up a little bit, sweetie?
Oh, come on. No, Mad Max would never.
That is sweet to see. I am surprised he's not a Giant, honestly. Maybe there was another reason he didn't want to go there, but I thought he would just go with Tony Vitello.
I guess.
But yeah, man, that is cool. That is sweet. That hey, we want to live here. You think about the families are involved in that decision as well, and so that's one that if they were comfy, I mean, that's the way you want to keep it.
So get to see more Max Scherzer, and hopefully, a decent amount. Again, he's had to deal with injuries back half of his seasons and everything like that. But good to see that he'll be returning to the Blue Jays fresh off their pennant championship, and we'll see how that goes. In the meantime, we'll talk more hoops. SEC basketball tiers, an update on those at 5:05. And we'll hear what Eli Drinkwitz had to say at the start of the spring football period at 5:25 here on The Big Show.
From the trainers to the coaches, the equipment managers to the players and fans, it takes a whole team to be truly successful. Hi, this is Sophie Cunningham, and if you're looking for the best team of jewelers in Columbia, it's Betts. Their staff has years of experience handcrafting jewelry, and when you combine that with the newest technology, it gives Betts Jewelers the ability to truly wow their customers. So talk to the team at your hometown jeweler today. Betts Jewelers in downtown Columbia.
These beautiful moments begin at Betts. Begin at Betts.
My name is Max Volkner. I'm a marketing consultant with Zimmer Communications. Working as a marketing consultant was not something I was expecting to do in my lifetime whatsoever. So getting the job here and then having so many helpful people around you to help you be successful was really awesome for me and is what made me fall in love with this job. Team is great. We all want to see each other succeed. I think that's a huge part of working here and huge benefit of working here.
If you're up for the challenge, apply now at ZimmerCommunications.com.
As we get into the heart of basketball season, 1851 Underground Tap and Grill wants to remind you whether you need a place to grab a bite after a local high school or college game, or you want to plop down with some friends and watch some of that college conference action on TV, they've got a spot for you. Your favorite cold beer or cocktail and delicious appetizer or dinner options on the menu. Check them out on Facebook or at 1851underground.com. It's no secret that it is underground. 1851 Underground Tap and Grill in the historic Brick District, downtown Fulton.
Hi, I'm Sarah Sticklin McDonald.
And I'm Charlie Sticklin with the Sticklin and Sticklin Law Firm.
And I'm Mizzou Softball's Natalie Touche. At Sticklin and Sticklin, all we do is personal injury.
We've earned millions for our clients since 1991.
On the diamond, I trust my team. Off the diamond, I trust Sticklin and Sticklin. Don't let the insurance companies strike you out. Let Sticklin and Sticklin go to bat for you. Sticklin and Sticklin, it's a home run.
KTGR AM Columbia, KTGR FM Fulton Columbia, K286CL Columbia, in Missouri's total sports station. KTGR is Sports Center.
I'm Nick DeLuca. NFL Combine Week in Indianapolis. Player workouts getting going with draft boards in progress. Ohio State safety Caleb Downs, number 2 on Mel Kiper Jr.'s board. Critics saying a safety doesn't have enough impact to go that high. Downs disagrees.
It's who affects the game on defense, and you can affect the game in a lot of different ways. And I think if you watch my film, you see that I'm affecting the game in the box, in the deep part of the field. Sometimes on special teams, whatever it takes.
Downs on the Rich Eisen show. Meanwhile, Texas Tech edge David Bailey posting a 4.51 unofficial 40, reaching nearly 23 miles per hour. It's the fastest top speed of any edge prospect over the last 4 years. NFLPA report card details have emerged for the third straight season. The Dolphins ranking at the top of the list in the NFL. Survey writing players consistently describe the organization as the best in the NFL. Vikings finishing in second, followed by the Commanders in third. Steelers finishing in last place for the first time in survey history.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive Commercial Insurance flexes to fit your business's needs, from quick repairs to adjustable coverages and even payment options. Progressive Commercial makes it easy to get what you need. Quote today in as little as 8 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
From Faro. 15 to the 10, to the house. Bush. Back to the wall, and it's got her. And Arrowhead. Touchdown! Kansas City! To your speakers.
This is the big show, baby.
Get fresh takes on the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. Right now, this is The Big Show with Andy and Brendan on KTGR.
Oh, I'm looking forward to these SEC basketball tiers after Missouri's most recent game was a win over Tennessee. Why wouldn't I be? Things are looking up for the Tigers. They've still got some work to do to secure an NCAA tournament bid, but it really feels like they are in line to do it at this point. Not trying to jinx them or anything. 5:05, just a few minutes from now, we'll update our SEC basketball tiers. And at 5:25, we'll hear from Eli Drinkwitz. He had a media day ahead of spring ball and had thoughts on the potential quarterback competition, among other things, for the Tigers this year. We haven't heard from Drink in a number of weeks, so we'll be good to dig into some audio and hear from the head ball coach at 5:25. 573-875-KTGR is the number to call us or text us on the program today. But first, it's 5 o'clock.
It's time for the Top 5 at 5 on The Big Show. Number 1.
If you want to trade away for curtain number 1, you can have curtain 1.
I think Mizzou benefited a good amount from last night's SEC basketball action. The Tigers, as a result of all of that, are 5th in the SEC standings. Even though they're in a 4-way tie with 3 other teams, they've beaten all those teams. So they would have the tiebreak on all those teams as a result. The Tigers are in a really good spot with 3 regular season games remaining. If they can win this weekend and Tennessee loses this weekend, Tennessee plays Alabama, then Mizzou would start next week in double bye territory as the 4 seed. They would have the tiebreak on Tennessee there. Going to be interesting to see, but things are looking up for Mizzou. They do have to take care of business, though, get the job done this weekend against the Bulldogs.
Number 2.
Number 2, your timing is impeccable.
Mizzou women's basketball, well, they're heading the other direction. The finish of the season not looking all that great. They've lost 4 straight, and it is going to be really tough to try and break that streak before the SEC tournament. Tigers are at number 3, South Carolina, who has only lost twice all season long. And then they finish at home against Oklahoma, who is ranked number 7. That's on Sunday afternoon. And look, there have been some really lopsided scores that Mizzou has been the victim of recently. Here's hoping that it is not that lopsided tonight, but I don't know if I'd predict a win. You can hear it tonight, 7 o'clock tip-off on KTGR.
Number 3.
Heard from Eli Drinkwitz earlier today before the start of spring football. It'll get started this weekend for the Tigers. They'll have a walkthrough tomorrow. But interesting to hear his thoughts on how he saw the transfer portal class develop. He used the Moneyball term as far as making sure you use your money as wisely as possible to not only get the production that you're losing, but also maybe some guys that can help you down the line and make it up in the aggregate, as he talked about. We'll hear a little more of what he had to say about Austin Simmons, about some other players, about some coaches that are coming in as well that could make an impact during this 2026 season.
Number 4.
Oh, shanked it.
NFL Combine, this is probably the worst part of it, the measurements and how people freak out about them. Yeah, Ruben Bain has shorter arms. It doesn't mean that he can't be a good defensive end in the NFL. But you know what? If he gets dinged for his arm length and doesn't become a top 5 pick and he falls a little further down to the Chiefs, I wouldn't complain. I'd like Ruben Bain on the Chiefs.
Number 5.
What is the 5 fingers? Say to the face. Slap.
Blues are finally back tonight off the Olympic break. I guess this means Jordan Bennington is on his revenge tour for the last 25 games.
That's the Big Show's Top 5 at 5 on KTGR.
875 KTGR. Yeah, Bennington's just going to go on a heater. And even though the Blues are last in the Western Conference or second to last in the conference, I believe, he's just going to stand on his head for 25 games in a row and lead them to the playoffs. Yeah, that's what's going to happen, right? Because he's mad about giving up that overtime goal, the goal battle game.
They'll probably trade him. I mean, their timeline doesn't seem to be lining up. Maybe
No,
he's not a spring chicken anymore. So
no, he's not.
I don't know.
I guess the trade deadline, you can still trade players, right? Because they had like a pause, and now I think you can pick it back up.
They haven't had the trade deadline yet.
No. So
he's 32 though. I mean, turns 33 in July.
Yeah.
I guess I don't know how long goalies can go. Sometimes they make it pretty deep into their 30s, but I still think he's playing at a high level. They just don't have the team this year, and they should be tanking and getting the most impactful draft pick they can to try to go with some of those other guys, as they've gotten some prospects in the system that are starting to slowly but surely trickle into the NHL level. But I think this needs to be a draft where you end up maybe getting a big fish that can hopefully help you sooner than later. It seems like they draft a lot of developmental kind of kids that take a couple of years, which is fine as long as they end up being good players. But it'd be nice to get somebody that can make an instant impact.
And not somebody that's with their college team and stays with their college team for 2 years.
That was Snuggerud, and
it's odd. But either way,
it's a little bit different. It's different than the other sports in the way that kind of breaks down, and that at some level, like, you'd rather play with your college than in the NHL, and like you only get to be a college player once. So I guess I guess we could understand why those decisions might get made, but it's a little weird.
Tonight, Blues take on the Seattle Kraken in their first game back from the Olympic break. Get Kraken
on climbing up the standings, or stay right where you are.
I mean, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, right? Get as many lottery balls as possible. There's a draft lottery, right? Yeah.
However they do it, I don't know. I don't think it's like lottery balls as much as codes that you get.
I understand that technology has changed over the last.
Like there's not a little lottery ball with a Blues logo. Like, ooh, we got picked.
That's just for the imagery of it all, though. That's
how we all want to imagine that it goes.
Hey, maybe we should go back to that. Maybe less of a likelihood of it being compromised in any way.
I don't know. Don't get me started on that. I got some conspiracy theories.
Oh, you do? So do you believe in the frozen envelope?
Well, that one, I don't know how you couldn't believe in it, but I just, you don't want to start with me today.
Okay.
I'm not gonna.
All right.
I'm not gonna bite.
All right. Well, we'll move on to SEC basketball tiers instead.
I do want to do those.
That is, This is. I mean, if you ask Joe Lunardi, he might only have like 4 tiers total of the entire conference, because he has bunched them all together in his projections.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess we ought to make some, not that our tiers and our opinions have to match what he's looking at.
No,
I think largely, Andy, we've got it similarly, other than, and I mean, in your case, I think you do. Don't you just have the 4? Essentially?
Well, I guess I was close to it.
You did. You broke Mississippi State and Oklahoma off into like its own thing to make a 5th tier. But that's all below the bubble anyway. So that's semantics. Honestly.
Right. I actually this week I'm thinking more along the lines of maybe breaking up those tiers a little bit, though. Like I think there are teams that maybe not just based on results, but probably based on the vibes of how they've looked in these games. Have shown that maybe they have more upside than the teams they were grouped with.
And frankly, last week, I kind of did that almost in anticipation of what could come. And I don't know that I will be changing a lot about it. A&M, Missouri, Texas was my 3rd tier. Auburn, Georgia was my 4th tier. And I feel the same as I felt about Auburn. Like, I don't really believe in them.
Fair. Yeah, I get it. I'll say this. Well, let's start. Florida, alone.
Okay.
Still.
I have had Alabama with them the whole way, and I don't think Alabama has given me any reason to change that. No. Their Saturday game was a road win. Barely beat LSU, but they're beating by 7. Like, that's perfectly fine. I'm keeping Bama up there. It's a combination of like not thinking Florida is infallible and wanting to credit Alabama. So I had it written the other way where I had Florida like written second. I do think Alabama is like within the tier, the second team. But I'm going to keep it the same as well. But I'm going to stay stubborn about giving Bama its credit.
See, I do think that Florida has reached a status that has just they take 8 straight wins.
Yeah,
and there are a couple of real anomalies on their conference schedule. I think we can all agree. Like, look, Mizzou beat Florida, and they're getting credit for it. I think we can all agree, though, that Florida did not have his best game. Like, they were just not playing the way that they expect to play.
Yeah.
I think they can also say that about how the Auburn game went at home for them. Like, that was a pretty inexplicable one. And we're seeing the type of team that Auburn is. And it's like, that's hard to explain. Other teams have had other games that have been a lot harder to explain to me, though. So, like, the way that they
we're not talking about other teams. We're just talking about Alabama. And Florida did whip them, but that was in Gainesville.
Yeah.
So, like, I would expect the home team to have an advantage there. Alabama's won 7 in a row. Like, as much as I agree with you about all the positives on Florida, I'm pretty much exclusively positive on Bama as well. Like, I don't have.
Do they beat Auburn and Texas A&M though without Charles?
Without
Bediako?
Bediako? I mean, look, we can relitigate. I think their tournament seed that should be considered, but I also don't know that they're like that was a substantial. He was a player that contributed and was a mainstay for sure. I don't know that they're just a markedly worse team without him, but obviously it's the same as when a player, a key player goes down to injury and you kind of figure, okay, what are they with him or without him? It's a fair point, but I just haven't, as we've been doing these, I planted my flag and said, here's where I've got Bama, and they haven't lost since. So it's like, I think I have to kind of keep trudging forward.
Sure.
And I don't, Florida's not a 1 seed this year for me. They'll be like a 2 or a 3 in the NCAA tournament. I think Alabama's in that 3 range when it's all said and done. I know Lenardi may not tell you that
he's got it at
the way
4,
it is,
I
but
think.
They're a 3 to me when it's all said and done. As I'll go predictive a little bit on that.
All right, so I think the fact that I won't change Florida, but what I am going to change is Alabama and Arkansas alone in tier 2.
That's interesting.
That's what I'm doing. Those 2 teams.
It's right.
Yeah.
To separate Arkansas and to be like, give them some credit for how good they have played.
And again, they're playing Florida this weekend. And so if they win that game, then I'll very much consider putting Arkansas in the top tier along with Florida. But what I think is going to happen is that Florida's probably going to do what it did to Alabama earlier in the year. They
beat them by 23.
Yeah, I just think that's what's coming. So that's why I make that line of demarcation. But Arkansas is playing just about as well as anybody is in this conference, and maybe the country, right? Like, they are really on a good trajectory right now, similar to Alabama. And
I'm close to just saying all 3 of them are actually the top tier in the SEC, but I won't go quite that far.
And again, I think they very much characterized it with the game they played against each other in Tuscaloosa not long ago. So
any of these 3 teams could make the Final Four. That was something that I don't think I was saying about teams beyond Florida and Alabama before, but I watched that game closely last night. I'm going to have Arkansas in my tier 2, but they're by themselves. So we've got the same 3 teams in our top 2 tiers, but we just differ on Bama. But these are the 3 teams that are premier in this league for sure.
Okay. So now the next tier is Vandy's here, Tennessee's here, and I think Kentucky's here too.
Yeah, and that's all we did at that point is move up Bama and Arkansas, right? And then like the other 3 are in this spot. But can I ask about Missouri yet? Is that allowed?
Well, I think it's allowed. We can ask about it.
Teams that Missouri has beaten, all 3 of them.
Absolutely.
If I do this before the Mississippi State game and they lose, I am gonna. It's
gonna.
That's my rub here, because I actually think Missouri is as good as these teams.
I think they are on their best day. That's very true. They have shown that. I still
they're not as good as Arkansas. We saw that on the floor.
Yeah.
But Arkansas is not in this tier.
No. Generally speaking, though, I mean, it'll be fascinating to see what the spreads would potentially be in an SEC tournament scenario if Mizzou gets matched up with any of those schools. And I think they'd be underdogs against all of them.
They probably would be, but
that's the harsh part of it. As far as how Mizzou is playing right now, they very much deserve to be in these tiers. I guess it's just a matter of how you work the tiers. Do you work it based off of season long and what they have shown as the NCAA tournament committee will do?
No, it's kind of who they are to me. That's how I'm doing the tiers. Like, who are you actually?
Yeah.
Because that determines not your seed. Your resume will determine your seed.
Yeah.
It determines if you can go, if you can make noise in the tournament. And I think relative to the next crop of teams that we would have to be placing, Georgia, Texas, Auburn, Texas A&M, I think Missouri's got the chops actually to elevate and potentially do some damage.
Yeah, because all of those bubble teams are not really trending the right way either.
Yeah.
A&M's not doing all that hot. Obviously, Auburn has been really flirting with the very bottom of the bubble.
Yep.
And Texas lost last night. I know it was to Florida. I don't know how much we ding them for that.
No, they played well. I mean, they showed okay in that game. Florida's really, really good.
Yeah. But then also lost to Georgia, within this last week. So,
and they didn't show very well in that game.
And Georgia also very clearly has been dipping themselves. Lost to Vanderbilt last night.
The two results in this conference recently that should not have happened, that don't match my worldview, is Georgia beating Kentucky and Auburn beating Kentucky. Those two teams, I'm like, Kentucky's better than those two teams, but that's another reason I don't think I can put Missouri below Kentucky. I can't. I don't think Missouri is worse than Kentucky at basketball.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and do it. Missouri's in my tier 3 with Vandy, Tennessee, Kentucky.
I'm gonna do it too.
And I'm going to regret the crap out of it if it results in Missouri losing to Mississippi State.
Yeah.
I know that's not how it works. But it kind of feels like it could be how it works.
So I think they'll be fine.
This is the first time this year that I am basically drawing the line in the sand and saying, yes, all these teams are in the bubble range and none of them are locked into a bid yet, Missouri included. But I'm telling you, Missouri's better than A&M, Texas, Auburn, and Georgia. I'm just telling you that's the worldview I carry, and I'm ready to call that. Which means this is the first. I mean, after they beat Tennessee, that was the first moment where I have said Missouri's going to make the tournament. I was a skeptic until the Tennessee game. Don't lose to Mississippi State, because we'll be right back in this conversation next week going, oh my gosh, you got to win in Norman. But I'm going to just say it now because I don't think Missouri, like you said, which teams are trending? Well, Missouri is trending in a way where they keep beating the ranked opponents on their schedule.
Yeah.
These other teams on the bubble, I don't think are trending as favorably as the Tigers.
Yeah, they're not impressing to the point where you need to impress at this time of year. So, yeah, the Mizzou is where it is because their metrics dragged them down to a lower starting spot when conference play began for this conversation. But now,
which was fair at the time.
Yeah. But now, they have beaten so many teams that are above them, and it's fair to question why they are too far below them at that point. So yeah, they shouldn't be tier 4. They should be with the teams that they have beaten this year, like Tennessee and Vandy and Kentucky. So yeah, I agree. Then tier 4 is A&M's here, Texas is here.
Yeah, I'm just putting the other bubble teams all in the same bucket, which I didn't have last week, but I think again, this is about the line being Missouri, and I'm giving Missouri its flowers, and I think Missouri is going to be able to get where we want them to go. And so I'm going to say teams I expect to make the tournament: Vandy, Tennessee, Kentucky, and Missouri. The other 4, good luck to you. A couple of you probably will. Maybe all 4 of you do. Some of you very well will miss. But I'm not going to subscribe to Missouri missing the field. I think they've got what it takes now to make it.
Okay.
Please do it.
875-KTGR if you want to weigh in on our SEC basketball tiers. Okay, so we've gotten 11 in. Now the everybody that is below the bubble.
Which for you, I think was one tier last week, or did you break it
up?
No,
I thought I broke it up. I thought I had Oklahoma higher than the others.
Yeah, I think we both had Oklahoma and Mississippi State.
Yeah, which I mean, Oklahoma got another win, didn't they, against Georgia? Yeah.
Oklahoma.
Oh, no, they beat Auburn.
Oklahoma beat Auburn.
Yeah.
And so, like, my thing with Oklahoma is, like, you're not making the tournament, but you're as good as Auburn. Like, if I wanted to be petty, I would put Oklahoma and Auburn in a tier below the bubble.
Maybe.
Should I do it? I'm going to actually.
That'd be fun. Yeah,
Pearl,
sure.
I don't think he's the. I don't know. Your dad tried to get you a job and it worked out great, but yeah.
Well,
I'm doing it. Auburn and Oklahoma are a tier.
That. I like that because I don't think Mississippi State should be in this tier anymore. Lost to South Carolina within this last week. And I mean, they lost to Alabama like expected, but not great. So I'm going to say Mississippi State falls down potentially to the same tier as these other teams.
Are they all still the same, or is there one team from this group that you're like last night LSU and Ole Miss played and they played to double overtime.
Double OT.
They could decide who was
and LSU won.
They were the team on the road, and Ole Miss has lost a bunch of games in a row. If you were to tell me Mizzou was going to have a Thursday tournament game in Nashville against one of these two teams, I would much rather play Ole Miss. So that's what leads me to want to kind of put some distance there.
Straight losses for Ole Miss, man.
It's pretty bad.
They started 3-2.
What I'll do is LSU and Mississippi State is going to be in a tier, and then Ole Miss and South Carolina. Reason being, we play Mississippi State Saturday. Respect your opponent. I know that South Carolina just beat Mississippi State, but I'll go LSU, Mississippi State. So I've got this little 2x2 action going on.
No,
toward the bottom of the league.
No, those are all in the same tier for me.
They're all the same.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Yeah. No, Mississippi State. I get it.
Careful.
Josh Hubbard can go off.
That's the thing. A lot of teams don't have one of him.
No, they don't. But is he even? Mizzou will be fine.
Famous last words. Averaging 22 a game. I mean,
it's pretty good.
I want to pull up. Sorry, 21.6. I jumped the gun there.
Not bad.
His outputs, okay, they beat Auburn this season. He scored 46. They
how much did they win by? How much?
6 points.
Yeah, 6 points. Yeah, so he needs 46 in order to beat.
But he can score that many.
No, I get it. But he wasn't even the leading scorer in that game that he played at Mizzou this year. Jaden Epps was.
His first half was brutal.
Yeah.
And we were fortunate for it. Second half, he did his normal stuff.
Ended
up with 22.
Yeah.
They beat Ole Miss on the road. He scored 32. He scored 31 in a loss to Tennessee. So, to your point, sometimes him doing that doesn't equate to a win. They beat Oklahoma soundly. He scored 30. They beat Texas. He scored 38. That one feels a little bit more applicable, where it's be careful, because they lost by 2 to New Mexico. That's a bubble team. He scored 29. That's all I'm saying is on him alone, I'm going to make sure that they are not in the bottom tier for me this week. I'll bump them up with I'll bump them up there with LSU. By the way, Oklahoma, did you land somewhere on that Oklahoma Auburn?
No, I'm doing what you're doing. The Oklahoma and Auburn are there. Yeah, Auburn.
They pretty much have the same
now
record,
I'm hoping that almost, right? Isn't that true?
Yeah, I wasn't even tongue in cheek.
Auburn is 6-9. Oklahoma's 4-11. There's still a couple games buffer.
Okay, Auburn is 15-13. Oklahoma's 14-14.
Well, yeah, that also, yeah, not great.
Oklahoma is going to be a tough game next week, but we'll focus on the Bulldogs before we get to that point.
Man, SEC basketball tiers. They got more fun as the game as the season has gone along. But Mizzou, I think we have in a pretty good spot. And if they keep playing that way, if they play at the level that they did in those games where they beat Vandy and Tennessee, then we are talking about them probably in double bye territory.
But that spread tomorrow is going to be fascinating to see what it is.
Oh, I think they'll be favored.
Do you?
Yeah.
What's Ken Palm say? Have you looked?
1 point win.
It's going to be
51%.
It's going to be close.
51% chance.
It's going to be a dogfight, man.
Oh, don't say that. Against the Dogs.
I guess that.
Yeah, come on.
That wasn't like a Michael Vick thing.
No, I'm saying.
That's just the framing of the idiom.
I thought you were giving more props over to the Mississippi State.
Tiger could beat up a bulldog. You can maul a bulldog if you're a tiger. Tiger's got a size advantage. I think I have a friend who
There's a lot of pound for pound. Bulldogs pretty tough, though. You're talking about
Tiger's going to rip apart a bulldog.
No, I think so too.
This is how my buddy fills out a bracket, by the way. He doesn't.
Well, I know we're getting to the point where that is how people will fill out their brackets. I remember asking, I asked our buddy Shags over at our sister station, 96.7 KCMQ. He did that same thing, the mascots that would win in these fights. I said, okay, so who wins it all? And he's like, oh, the Oregon Ducks.
What?
He's an Oregon guy. He's like, yeah,
okay. Like, that doesn't really make any sense.
And I was like, okay, yeah, you got to watch out for those webbed feet.
I'm looking at the bracket, the Lenardi bracket right now. Like, okay, Iowa State is a cyclone. Like, how are you going to beat like a literal tornado? I don't think you.
Hey, that's hard. Yeah,
that's pretty good. I'll have to.
Well,
if
Arizona State were in it, the Sun Devils could really do a number on
that would be
tornadoes.
An interesting battle of weather
Duke,
related.
Blue Devils probably are fine there too. You know?
Yeah, I don't know. I gotta think about this a little bit more. But like any animal is probably in trouble.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Even if you're a tough tiger, I don't know if it's a confined space and there's a cyclone. Like, I don't know, debris could get you.
That is tough.
About that.
That is very tough. This is what we will ponder for.
I know what would come in last place. First round exit, a Jayhawk.
It doesn't exist.
Not a real bird.
You're like, okay, nobody showed up. I can't see this thing. All right.
P, congrats. You're moving on.
By default.
Moving on.
Exactly. 875 KTGR. Give us your SEC basketball tiers. You're on the big show. And your mascot takes. Get ready for filling out your bracket.
I pulled governors like that. I had to check myself.
That was very well done.
That was right.
Yeah. Well done.
I had to Google it after the fact.
Just to
make sure I was right. Yeah.
Want to make sure.
Liberty Flames? Like if you're on fire against the cyclone,
well,
does the wind put out the flame? I don't know.
Is Liberty going to make it? I just hope
they're a 12 seed. I think it's
they are? Oh, well, so they're projected to win their conference tournament.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll see if that happens. I don't know.
Red Storm? I mean, St. John's is a different
Red
type
Storm
of storm
versus a cyclone.
Good luck, everybody.
I don't know how we make heads and tails of it, but someone's got to do it. That's what our assignment is for the next 3 weeks. Try to find out what would win. A red storm or a cyclone. 875 KTGR. That's probably your national championship. I mean,
that's got to be
that point.
Those are two of the final four for sure.
Yeah. Either way, we'll keep discussing that and much more. We'll talk about what Eli Drinkwitz said before the start of spring practice, which is this weekend.
Mascot?
Hey, did he name drop one today? I can't remember, but maybe we'll dive into the audio and see. That's next. You're on the Big Show, KTGR.
Breaking down the Tigers, Cardinals, Chiefs, and more like no one else. The Big Show continues next on KTGR.
The votes are piling up. This is the final week to nominate your favorites for Inside Columbia Magazine's Best of Columbia 2026. The nomination period ends March 1st. Nominate the businesses and places you love most, including Best Burger, Best Live Music Venue, Best Salon, Best French Fries, Best Primary Care Provider, and more. You can nominate once per day, so come back and support your favorites. This is the final week to nominate. Best of Columbia 2026 starts with you. Nominate today at InsideColumbia.net.
To you, they're basically invisible. Tiny, weird, winged insects. Out of sight, out of mind, right? Not exactly. You see, while you're living your best human life above ground, there could be up to 1 million termites foraging for wood underneath your home. Steve's Pest Control needs you to know that termites are a serious problem. Like up to $5 billion a year serious. Oh, and that homeowner's insurance you've got? Yeah, termite damage isn't covered. In Missouri, it's not a matter of if you're going to get termites, it's when. A termite queen can lay over 20,000 eggs a day, and their colonies could house up to 1 million termites each. Upgrade your 5-star service with Steve's to the 5-star Advantage plan. In most cases, for less than $1.50 per day, you can show those termites that the Centricon system and Steve's Pest Control are a serious threat too.
Hi, I'm Steve with Steve's Pest Control. We're going to solve your pest problem. I guarantee it.
Now you got a friend in the pest control biz.
Columbia has a lot of great neighborhoods, a lot of beautiful neighborhoods, and you can't replace or build new homes there, but they're aging and the homes are getting to an age where they're needing maintenance. And one of the biggest things that we see coming over probably the next decade is need and demand for window replacement. So as your home approaches 15, 17, 20 years old, you're probably going to notice some drafts. You're going to notice some locks that don't quite lock anymore, maybe some condensation in the windows on the inside, outside, or between the panes. There's a variety of things. Or maybe you just drive up to the window and it's got rotten wood or a really faded exterior. But either way, at about that time frame, these windows kind of end their life cycle. And so we want to be prepared to be the ones that you call, when you notice that and you want a solution for it. The difference between a house and a home is the attention to detail. At True Sun Exteriors and Interiors, we'll turn your vision of a dream home into a reality. For more information or a free estimate, go to TrueSunExteriors.com.
TrueSunExteriors.com. Honey, he says we're in legal trouble and we're going to lose our retirement. We have to get to a crypto ATM now.
This can't be right. It's not right. I'm Attorney General Catherine Hanaway. We've received reports of devastating new scams involving crypto ATMs.
Let's report this.
We're here to help. Report suspected fraud at 800-392-8222 or visit ago.mo.gov.
Sponsored by the Missouri Attorney General's Office.
Hey, kids! Tired of working out in the peace and quiet of your own home? Why be comfy when you could be cringy? It's about time you signed up for a Gymbership. For 12 easy installments of $499.99, you can lie down on pre-soaked workout benches, enjoy awkward locker room talk, and get judged hard by dudes who look like they could rip a pickup truck in half. Gymbership comes with everything you see here, batteries not included. Or you can shop at Play It Again Sports for fitness and workout equipment. Think of them first so you don't finish last. Play It Again Sports, ColumbiaMo.com.
They can't shoot it straight on the golf course, but they can shoot straight on the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. Back to Andy and Brendan on The Big Show on KTGR.
Yeah, I will say, Joe Lenardi has St. John's and Liberty matched up in a 5-12. So, yeah, between a Red Storm and Flames, who gets the better of it? I guess the Red Storm. Is there rain in a Red Storm? But
what is a Red Storm? What does it consist of?
Is that like fireballs raining down on you? In that case, it's a pretty even matchup there.
It's kind of a tie. It's like two Final Four teams that match up in the first round. You talk about a committee's worst nightmare. What is the Red Storm?
That's very tough. Also, what would be very tough, we didn't even discuss. Right now is an 8 seed, according to Lenardi, the Miami Hurricanes. What? Hurricane versus a tornado? I don't want to compare natural disasters here.
No, but I think it does have to come down to weather because all these other ones are like human beings or animals.
Yeah.
And I don't think you are weakening or defeating. Now, can you wait out a storm? You just kind of hide till it's over? But if it's a perpetual hurricane because Miami doesn't stop being the Hurricanes, I don't think you can win if you're a human being or an animal. So,
yeah, you have to.
It comes down to weather.
You have to run the four corners offense against a hurricane and just wait it out.
I don't think you can because they don't stop being the Miami Hurricanes. They just exist in perpetuity.
Okay.
The Missouri Tiger could fall asleep and take a nap, but he's taking a Tiger snooze. He's going to come back. I just don't think you can litigate it that way and say, well, we'll wait it out. Now they're always the Red Storm. They're always going to be the Hurricanes.
Well, here's the thing. If a school really wanted to win this battle and be a number 1 seed in this scenario, what if you just pit the mascots against each other, who would win in a fight or whatever it is, the honest thing to do if you wanted to win that battle is name your team the Cockroaches. Cockroaches will survive everything. They will survive everything.
Defeat you? Can they actually?
Doesn't matter. They'll just wait you out.
They can't lose. That's accurate.
That's
if the NCAA ever puts that as part of the bracketing procedures, I think you will see some teams maybe consider that change.
I mean, talk about good wins or bad losses. There will be no losses on the Cockroaches side. They'll just, be around always. But
the St. John's Red Storm mascot, I think, is a Thunderbird. Was divined. Trying to find out more about the Thunderbird because that feels as though.
How does the Thunderbird factor into the Red Storm?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. I think it's their mascot. It's their mascot. They used to be the Red Men, and they changed that to Red Storm.
Okay.
For obvious reasons.
Yeah.
But they're still kind of leaning into like honoring the Native American tradition, the Thunderbird. Because like to get to the etymology of Red Storm, I need to know what type of storm this is. Thunderbird, I mean, there's thunder in it, so clearly there's an aspect of weather to this storm. It's not just, a mythological spirit of thunder and lightning, believed by some Native Americans to take the shape of a great bird, boasting feathers as long as a canoe. The legendary Thunderbird can generate lightning, thunder, and great winds by flapping its wings and blinking its eyes. I feel as though, like, the nickname, if you've got a mascot that is pertinent, we should consider that, because they're going to be, they're going to be involved in this battle, I presume. They're going to have to take the form of something. Right. A Thunderbird, I mean, that's pretty good, but you could still get hit by a brick in the head in the middle of a hurricane or a cyclone if you're a Thunderbird. So I kind of think I lean Miami, I lean Iowa State in this instance.
Well, either way, Miami, Iowa State, St. John's, Liberty, that's your Final Four.
I think that's your Final Four.
Yeah.
So we'll match up Liberty and St. John's on one end of the bracket, since they're, according to Lenardi, going to play in the first round anyway as a 5-12.
Exactly.
I don't know. The more I think about it, I think Hurricane probably just takes the cake. Cyclone is very condensed. Hurricane, you get lost up in there's cyclones within hurricanes. Isn't that a typhoon? I don't know.
Well,
we went deep into this.
At times, sure, but the tornado is more active on land, whereas once a hurricane hits land, it starts to weaken, and so that's kind of the difference there.
But they're not the tornadoes, they're the cyclones, which is kind of the same thing, but
I guess that could be thought into any other type of cyclone.
In meteorology, the word cyclone specifically refers to a large weather system that rotates around a center of low atmospheric pressure counterclockwise in the northern hemisphere, clockwise in the southern hemisphere.
Well, isn't that just a hurricane then? Or tropical storm?
Literally, the only difference now is one happens on land, one happens on water. So they're the same thing, effectively, a cyclone and a hurricane. But
good luck, committee.
They can't ever cross paths either.
No.
Because once you go to the other's domain, like, they'd have to play on a neutral floor, but they can't.
The equator, that's where they play.
They gotta, I mean, I think they're just going to be co-national champs.
Yeah.
I don't know a way around it. We've gotten to the bottom of the barrel on this.
Yeah, we really have. There is no way to determine a winner. If you're trying to
filling out a bracket this way for social media purposes, just to be like, I can't fill out the final square. I'm sorry, but they're the same thing.
It's
pretty good.
I don't know how you can parse it out.
Well, here you go. A hurricane does make landfall, and it's still pretty dang powerful. I think hurricane wins. That's
really okay.
Yeah, because it's still
it does. It goes on for sure. Yep. It's just once it starts to hit land, that's when
it begins to weaken.
But yes, they can be very devastating on land, and that's why they are formidable opponents here.
Hurricanes are considered stronger and more destructive because they can reach up to 150 mile per hour of sustained winds, longer duration, and are larger. That's what I was thinking. Like a cyclone, a tornado is more of a condensed. You don't want to be in its path.
Very devastating, yes.
But you don't necessarily have to, you go in the basement rather than drive away 2 days before it hits type of vibe, which again, a hurricane's more predictable. So maybe you can game plan for the hurricanes a little better. Then you can't take them by surprise if you're the cyclone.
Right.
Now I'm back to being convinced there's no way to decide a winner.
No, there isn't.
I didn't think about the game plan.
Really is
coaching
not.
Comes into this, obviously.
Yeah.
And you can't really coach to prepare for a tornado. It's just you know what you can do, but you can't get away. I mean, the hurricane, you drive away. If they tell you one's coming, you can drive away a couple days before it starts.
Well, you should plan beforehand though, but there is a window that if you wait, you're kind of stuck. But yeah,
exactly. No, that's what I'm saying. But with the tornado, you can't. You got to rely on luck. That half quarter has to not go in by Vanderbilt to survive the
instead
tornado.
It just cyclones around the rim and out. Yeah,
it sometimes it might, and you go, wow, we bent but we didn't break. But in reality, You didn't do anything different, Coach.
Golly.
Dumbest segment we've ever done, and yet still the best. I preempted Eli Drinkwitz for this.
Sorry, Drink, if you're listening. We swear we didn't mean to. Oh, man. Big Show's on at 5:41 KTGR on the KTGR app. It is officially off the rails. So we're glad that you've tuned into that part.
I think that was insightful and informative, though, actually.
Well, I do think.
To the bottom of it.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Was Drinking insightful and informative today?
He was. He was.
Okay,
we will get to that. We do have to get to some text as well. We will get to all of that when we return on the Big Show on some on mascot talk, on Hurricanes versus Cyclones, on Eli Drinkwitz in spring football, on left-handed quarterbacks, and the leg. All next.
Now, your local sports center update on your total sports station, KTGR.
Good afternoon. I'm Andy Humphrey. This Sports Center update is with Lee's Tire Company. If it's round and rubber, Lee sells it. Lee'sTireCompany.com. After last night's SEC men's basketball results, the Tigers now stand in a tie for 5th place with 3 other teams in the SEC standings, but would have the tiebreaker on all 3 and currently sit as the number 5 seed in the SEC. Tigers are trying to chase a top 4 seed for a double bye in the SEC tournament. Their next game is this Saturday at noon as the Tigers visit Mississippi State. Mizzou women's basketball has their final road game of the regular season tonight at number 3 South Carolina. Tigers have lost 4 straight, 4-10 in conference play, 16-13 overall. Meanwhile, South Carolina 27-2 on the season. Tip-off tonight, 7 p.m., pregame at 6:45 right here on KTGR. Mizzou baseball announced a schedule change today for their 3-game set against North Dakota State this weekend. Tigers will have a doubleheader Saturday and no game Sunday to avoid potential rain that day. Doubleheader will begin at 1 p.m. on Saturday. First game of the series on Friday at 6 o'clock. The time is unchanged. You can hear all 3 games this weekend on the KTGR app. Now your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast.
I'm ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner. I'm tracking mostly clear skies tonight. Tomorrow is much more windy as gusts get up to around 25 to 30 miles per hour. It's warmer too with highs in the low to mid 70s. Saturday, a cold front will be moving through. Morning temperatures will be around 40 and we only make it to the 50s across I-70 as temperatures continue to fall throughout the day. I'm ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner, and that's your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast on your total sports station, KTGR.
Midway Electric presents the High School Sports Power Play of the Week.
Picked up in a double team, throws to his left to Timbrook, stopped at the perimeter, throws right side to Davis, left side, Paris tries a deep three and knocks it down! Donovan Paris right at the end, hits a triple, and it's a 17-point advantage for the Bruins heading into the locker room.
That's the Power Play of the Week with Midway Electric, powered by people with pride. MidwayElectricInc.com.
Hi, everyone. Andy Humphrey here for Advanced Tree Solutions. Wintertime is when your trees are barren, obviously. No leaves yet. We'll get to that very soon. But you still need to be aware of how your trees are growing during this time, especially if they're hanging over those power lines, right? That can be dangerous. And so now that there aren't leaves on the branches yet, now's a good time to get tree pruning done so that they can be safe once we see that growth back. Eric and his team at Advanced Tree Solutions, they are excellent to work with. They've come to my yard before, taken a tree out that was dead. They're honest, upfront, and trained, and they know exactly how to take care of your trees. Because, look, the power company's not going to know how to do it. Most lawn services, they don't know how to really take care of them. Eric and his team does. Go to AdvancedTreeSolutionsLLC.com. You can contact them to book for tree pruning and also look at the other services they have so that you can get ready for springtime at AdvancedTreeSolutionsLLC.com. Give your trees the care they deserve with Advanced Tree Solutions.
When you're looking for new appliances, Menards is the place to shop. We have an excellent in-stock appliance selection from great brands at the best prices, ready to take home today. Whether you want new laundry appliances or need upgrades for your kitchen, you'll be sure to find appliances that'll make your life easier. Visit Menards and save big money on appliances today. Plus, check out Menards.com to view all of our great deals happening this week.
Save big money at Menards.
Hey, construction dude, congrats on the killer contract in Cape. Sweet. So, how are you going to get that Mongo crane down to the job site? Here's a haul of an idea. Just Google I-70 Towing. They're Mid-Missouri's go-to crew for heavy equipment hauling, too. Semis, dozers, RVs, goosenecks, farm and construction stuff, school buses, boats, bring it. If you use it, they can move it. Call the team they think you'll really love to meet. I70towing.com. Goosenecks. Give me some long necks.
From elegant weddings to corporate lunches with flavor and flair, Courtyard by Marriott Columbia brings the party and the pros. It's the home of Main Event Catering. And with every event, you'll get an award-winning chef, full banquet staff, and drop-and-go options for any size crowd. And the event center holds up to 300 guests with 8 flexible rooms. If you need help, there's a Marriott certified wedding coordinator on staff too. Book now by calling 573-443-8000.
Time's running out on your best chance to show off all the coolest tools, gadgets, and equipment that guys want. The 2026 Como Man Show, Saturday, March 14th at the Northeast Events Center where the Boone County Fair is held. Yeah, that's coming up real fast. And it's the best and most fun way to show every man they need what you got. Bring your best stuff, show it off, and have a blast. Secure your spot now and get ready for the Como Man Show at ComoManShow.com.
Hi, we're Midway Electric. Late winter is the smart time to take a look at your electrical system before spring projects and new power demands put extra strain on it. If your panel is outdated, breakers trip often, or you're planning major upgrades, now is the time to make sure your system is ready. From panel upgrades and repairs to efficient lighting and future-ready electrical solutions, Midway Electric helps keep homes and businesses safe, reliable, and prepared for what's next. Midway Electric, powered by people with pride. MidwayElectricInc.com.
Tired of calling Andy and Brendan? So are their wives. Then shoot them a text right now. 573-875-KTGR and become part of the Big Show.
Pete texts in here on the Big Show. The storm teams are like the red dot on Jupiter, just in a constant motion around the planet. So, like, I get, is that a red storm, I suppose? Like, if you just plop yourself down on the red dot in Jupiter, that's what you experience?
It's specific to Jupiter, though. Okay. Well, I don't think you can, again, these games are played on a neutral floor. So if it only works on one planet, I think you're out of luck. You're going to have a great home record, and then you go on the road, you can't beat anybody. Neutral floor can't beat anybody.
Yeah, but neutral floor, what's that mean? What planet? It does have to happen on some planet. So is it Venus? Is it Mars? What is it?
It can't be on your home turf. You know?
All right. So, but then
Besides,
what,
I don't think,
what happens to hurricanes? They're not on Earth anymore.
What if we made the mascots play basketball? Then who wins? Probably one of the human type of mascots.
Yeah. I'd love to see the Lumberjacks.
But the Tiger could maul the other guy to death. No points.
The refs would just, they'd have a heyday when it comes to reviewing flagrant fouls, though, and it's all that.
But if the refs get eaten, what do you have left?
Okay, well, now we're back to death match. Like we've forgotten the basketball.
Okay, if you were playing 5-on-5 and one team didn't have any players left, I do believe they forfeit. So
just like the Jayhawks, right?
Yeah, they're out in the first round.
Exactly. So I don't know. We'll try to find out the answer by Selection Sunday. 875-5847 here on the Big Show KTGR and the KTGR app. Let's get to what Eli Drinkwitz said today before the start of spring football. First question out of the gate, I believe, was from Eli Hoff, talking about quarterbacks, and he specifically asked about Austin Simmons, and here was Eli Drinkwitz answering the question about what he's seen from Austin Simmons.
Yeah, excited about the quarterback competition that we're going to have this year. Obviously, I think Matt did an excellent job in his opportunity as a true freshman. And, you know, for us, core value number one is always compete. And so there's going to have to be added competition. And we've got that with Austin Simmons, with Nick Evers, with Gavin Sidwar, and with Matt Zollers. As far as Austin, one, I think he's very competitive in nature. I think he's got natural talent as a quarterback, obviously. Very good arm talent, decision maker. has the ability to run. Obviously hasn't played a ton of football because of the injury last year, but when he has got his opportunity, has played at a really high level and high clip. Look forward to him working with Coach Riley and Coach Lindsey in the offense and competing to see who the best quarterback is for our football team.
So again, like, not saying for sure
who
the quarterback is.
Do I need to do this again this year? Happened last year.
Here's the thing.
Kind of got lucky.
I get it.
In an unlucky way. Didn't want that Sam Horn injury, but
I don't know how long they will bill it a competition. And I'm sure that they're going to watch Austin Simmons in a few practices first before feeling really good about him, being the starter, right? And do that. And in the meantime, they're not going to discount Matt Zowers, obviously.
It's inane to say the other names that he said, but there's a reason he does it. It's the same reason he has done it in previous years. You want all those quarterbacks to be invested like they're in a competition.
Yeah.
Because injuries happen, and especially for like a young guy coming in, Sidwar, you don't want Gavin Sidwar to, not feel like he is on the radar at all and be like, all right, I'm just going to transfer. Like, he may end up transferring anyway down the road. But, it was the same way that Drink talked about Zollers last August, when we're like, okay, sure, it's a three-way competition, but not really, because, Zollers wasn't going to win the job outright, but he wanted him invested, and he wants, in the transfer portal era, I think continuing to say the names of all your quarterbacks, especially the young guys, is a way in coaching to make sure that they know that you see them. And so whether it's a real competition or not, I would have no problem with Drink playing the song and dance all the way up to the bitter end of camp when it comes to Zollers. The other two are not going to be involved. But Matt Zollers, the plan for Matt Zollers is still to someday be the quarterback here. And I think the best way to do that is to, dude, if you're better than the guy that we just paid a bunch of money to come in here, then you're the quarterback now. Like, have that type of offseason and show it to us. There's no reason that they wouldn't set up that type of competition, even if we already kind of think we know the outcome to it from the outside. Yeah,
and the way that you retool rosters every year now with the transfer portal, it makes sense to not jump to conclusions right away and at least see what everybody's got before making a determination. You can have a way in your mind of how it's probably going to go, but it's still a way to make sure that everybody throws their best shot out there and says, all right, let's see who actually is the best. I will say, though, this year, I at least will be a little more skeptical of them saying the word competition and believing it to be a competition. I think truly it was one last year.
Okay. I think this year you're saying, give me a break.
I will be a little more like, okay, I'll just wait until you say it's Austin Simmons. And
I will smile and nod and have the same result. I think Drinkwitz knows that it's likely going to be Austin Simmons, but if you like Matt Zollers, and clearly they still do, there is no reason to other him in this competition or in this race before you even get to spring ball, because I don't know. Does Simmons have multiple years of eligibility? I think he's got.
Yeah, I think
multiple,
he's got.
But it's like, what if they go 7-5 this year and Simmons is so, but they see behind the scenes Zollers is making strides. Like, you don't want to tell the guy that just re-upped with you in the NIL era, in the portal era, that you're like, no, you're not going to be the quarterback. We're paying this kid to do it.
Right.
Zollers, I think with the arm talent that he had coming out of high school, there's a realm in which Zollers could improve in the offseason and challenge for the job. I don't expect it, though.
Now, Eli Drinkwitz was asked about Austin Simmons being a lefty and how that changes things. Here was his response.
I don't have a lot of history with left-handed quarterbacks, but, the truth of it is, if a left-handed quarterback actually ends up playing for you, they usually turn out to be really good because they have had to overcome a lot of bias. You look at Kellen Moore at Boise State. You look at a guy named Steve Young. Those guys had to overcome a lot of bias to get that opportunity, and then they turned out to play really, really well. It will affect some of the crux beliefs that the coaches have about quarterbacks, like you don't ever boot to the offhand of the quarterback. So we might have to be conscientious of that. I think there is some conscientious things that I've challenged both Garrett and Chip to make sure we're aware of in our scripting, to make sure that we're not putting our quarterback in a negative spot. But other than that, he's got to go play some football, and I'm sure he's been battling that stigmatism his whole life of being the lefty.
So, yeah, there are a few differences to it. It was notable to hear Drinkwitz say that Josh Adkins, their big transfer tackle that they got from Arizona State, they did say that they're going to try him out at right tackle. He was at left tackle all of last year. So it seems that they would want him to go to the right and keep Caden Green on the left side. So we'll see how that goes. So that would mean if it is Austin Simmons, the quarterback, then the blind side is protected by Josh Adkins on that side.
And he mentioned Logan Reichert competing at that spot as well. That'll be interesting. That'll be probably because I don't know that there's a lot of backup options here of like, if it's not going well, they went out, they got this experienced tackle, and they're going to say, you're going to be our most important lineman because of the left-handed nature of the quarterback. So that'll be a big topic throughout the summer and the fall as to how Adkins performs and ultimately when we get to the season.
Yeah, so a lot of stuff that he dove into, had thoughts on John Papuchis, the special teams coordinator coming in, Chip Lindsey as well, replacing that production in the transfer portal. A lot of stuff that we don't have time to play at the moment, but you can go hear the full press conference from Eli Drinkwitz. Also hear from Santana Banner and Ahmad Hardy, who spoke at the podium too, at ktgr.com. That is where the full audio is, where you can catch all of it. Thanks for joining us today. Thanks also to Eli Hoff of the St. Louis Post-Dispatch for coming on earlier. We'll have our predictions for Mizzou, Mississippi State tomorrow. We'll have more of a preview of the college hoops slate with Rob Vino of wagertalk.com, our picks of the week, and a lot more. So join us tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Mizzou women's basketball coverage begins at 6:45 later on this evening, so stay tuned for that. He's Brendan. I'm Andy. We're done for now.